Welcome back to another episode of the Four Rings in our homebrew world of Ethereum for the City of Shadows. Last we saw our highborns. They were recovering from a terrific event in the Temple of Ryan, where the wonderful Count Heir Eleonore was attacked, and the handsome Viscount Heir Renshaw. I forgot the word Viscount. I didn't forget the word handsome. The handsome Viscount Heir Renshaw was targeted by these dangerous cultists. The cultists were apprehended by the helps of the two counts and viscounts and our wonderful Ashen Order Oriana. And then
all together.
Oh yes, all together. Teamwork. And then in the wake of this, High Lord Ilion appointed at the behest of Eleanor Quillen Oriana to the service of Renshaw as his protector. Not awkward in the slightest.
I didn't know who the guard was.
That's true. That's true. You didn't know it was Oriana. After that, the three highborns hit up the town. They made a pit stop at the game store, stopped to eat at the atrium, and then went to Lockward Tailory to investigate a swatch of cloth pulled off the dead body of Lucille Splotchins, the body found during the murder at the Equinox Ball. As we return to the upstairs of Lockward Tailory, are you guys ready for a scary story?
Oh, I don't know.
Rain begins to fall on the rooftop as you ascend the stairs to Lockward Tailory. When you reach the landing, you are greeted by the maze of garments and textiles as you enter Viscount Lockward's personal workshop. A strange click-clacking of wood guides you deeper into this maze until you reach the heart of the second story, where you see four stuttering mannequins as they stiffly shuffle across the wooden floors, gathering supplies, organizing tools, posing for their creator. Sitting on her stool is a blonde woman in her early 20s, pastel blue apron, two hands occupied with a fur-lined vest, and a third translucent hand conducting the final stitches. Larissa Lockward turns to you on her stool, the red and pink sphere resting in her lap glows and hums with runic energy. All four heads of the mannequins turn towards the new entrant, the new guests to the workshop. And Larissa turns to you and says, I hear you have something interesting for me?
Hi, yeah. Oriana?
Oh. Count Quillen, it is excellent to see you here. I would have preferred to meet you in less, more preferable circumstances, but welcome to my workshop.
I was brought up here. You said early 20s. Did I, go to Scrollspire with this chick? If I'm 26 and fresh-faced from college.
Actually, so she would actually be in her, early 30s. I misspoke.
Okay.
She's in her early 30s.
So she would have always been, high enough up above me that I didn't,
Yeah, she probably would have graduated Scroll Spire before Renshore got there. But, like, within a year, like, they would have just missed each other. But good catch. Thank you.
I just wanted to know how familiar I was with her.
Yeah.
So, my friend here, Oriana, has this cloak that she has been looking into for one of her investigations with the Ashen Order, that she just kind of wanted someone to check out, and your attendant sent us up here.
Oh. And she'll motion for the swatch.
I believe you're mistaken. She's trying to repair her family's garments.
Oh, shoot.
No, that's okay.
I forgot between episodes what her lie was.
No. Run it back.
I was going to let you go with whatever you want. Okay, you want to run it back?
Aubrey forgot between episodes that you had given a lie.
Eleanor, Aubrey, totally up to you if you want to go with that. Or
and I don't bring up the Ashen Order at all, because I hated doing that. I'm just going to be like, my friend here has this cloak from her grandmother or something, whatever Oriana has.
Yeah. Grandmother, You would have just heard it like a minute ago. So yeah. No, absolutely.
That she wanted checked out, and your attendant sent us up here.
And my heart is like pounding right now, and so I'm gonna hand the swatch to Eleanor.
Yeah.
To hand over, and I'm just very gently gonna pull my Ashen Order hood up, and not hastily, but very gently keep my hand on the hilt of my sword. Not aggressively, not trying to like be threatening, but just like my hand is just kind of resting like on like my hip.
Yeah. Can I have, let's see, we're gonna go through the down the line real quick. Oriana, can I have a wisdom saving throw from you? Can I have a deception check from Eleanor? And can I have a charisma saving throw from Renshore? Yes. Charisma saving throw from Renshore. Actually, no, just a charisma check from Renshore, not a saving throw.
Thanks for taking those two away from me.
Yeah, no problem.
I am not trying to lie to her, but just be overly nice because I don't want to upset her. Can I get persuasion instead? Or is it a deception because of Oriana's lie?
You did tell her a lie.
Yeah, I was trying to think if it's just a like about the mood of the room. I was like, I'm not trying to like Eleanor is just here to be a peacekeeper in mode. Yeah. But if it's about what I'm actually saying, then that is a lie.
No, let's do perception or not persuasion this time, and then we'll get to the lie in a second. But for the sake of the vibes of the room, give me persuasion.
When Oriana like backs up and like puts her hood up, I am gonna go over and like ask if she's okay.
Perfect.
I want to stand in front of her to try to block the cloak being up, even though I am like half her height as a gnome, and so I'm just like there, and I'm not actually blocking anything, and I'm gonna take a step forward to hand her the thing, and I got a 14.
You're a pink distraction.
14 from Eleanor.
I got a 9.
A 9. And Renshore, how'd you do?
17 charisma.
Excellent. Renshore, if you have any negative emotions about the runic magic in this room, it does not show on your face. As you turn towards Oriana and ask her if she's okay, Oriana, you do not hear anything but the white noise and the hum of the sphere sitting in Larissa's lap. The runic vibrations from the sphere are the deafening in this room to you. And Renshaw, you see that she doesn't respond at all to your question.
My eyes are very much just locked on Miss Lockwood.
I will put my hand on Oriana's shoulder if she lets me. I'm gonna ask if she needs to like step away or go outside.
I just don't move. I recognize your hand there, and I just keep my eyes on everything that is happening. I think my eyes are now especially drifting out to Eleanore with the swatch, like waiting for her to hand it over.
Yeah. You, Eleanor, you see Larissa's eyes go to Renshaw and Oriana as she slowly reaches out to take the fabric, and she goes, "Are your compatriots okay? They seem to be having a difficult time."
Can I insight check her?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking hell.
Oh, no, don't say that. No.
So that's a 9 because I rolled a 2.
No.
Oh.
She rolled a nat 1 on her.
Oh, shit.
On her.
Whatever.
Or whatever. I won't say. Neither deception nor persuasion. But she on her charisma check, and you see, she does not look worried about the two of them. She's more. She looks like she's getting like secondhand embarrassment from them.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, they came up here and they fucking can't handle what they're seeing. Like these. Yeah. She's not like not concerned. Mm-hmm. She just thinks that they're being weird in her workshop.
Yeah. I'll just be like, you know how the cloaks can be. Their propriety set of mind, and then hand her the swatch.
Yeah, she'll take the swatch. As she takes it, she begins to examine it, and one of the wooden mannequins like stumbles and like shuffles towards Oriana and Renshaw, before a shaky hand offers up a cup of water towards the two of you, and like even as it rests, it's still like shaking a little bit in its hand.
I will take the cup of water.
I hate this.
At Renshaw, as you take the cup of water, it does like a really like hasty like curtsy as it like bows its head a little bit, and then before like quickly motioning back up and then moving back towards some of the rolls of fabric in the back of the room.
Do you need a drink of water?
Oriana, give me another wisdom saving throw.
That's another 9.
You do not hear
exactly
anything.
The same.
Yep.
I will see the water in his hand. Like, I saw the whole interaction. And so I'll shake my head no, but my eyes are still on Eleanore.
I am now awkwardly holding a cup of water. I'm not thirsty.
I'm very much trying to pull focus, and so I'm at the front, like in front of her, like, it's such a lovely day outside. I mean, I think it started raining, but, you know, it helps with the mood of the city, kind of wash away some of the dirt and debris. Yeah, if we just got this cloak at this, you know, and like,
and just start to go on.
Really trying to like hold a normal conversation and have complete focus of this woman onto me.
Yeah.
I thought you were calling her dirt for a second. Like,
really just wash
as a metaphor? Like, wash away the dirt, the witches.
Just helps wash away the Viscounts. I mean, you know, it's just like the lesser people out there, you know?
The disgusting magic that inhabits the dark corners of the city.
Is it like nasty?
She goes, as you're talking, you can see that with your insight, Lockward is like not paying attention to it all as she's examining this cloak, this swatch. She flips it over a couple times, and you can hear under her breath, she goes, shit. Where did you say you found this cloth?
Just in an old chest.
Now I need that deception check.
That's a good lie, though.
It was what Oriana, I think, originally said.
Yeah, but hers is more specific about grandmother's dress. Like, this being just from an old chest could give us more information.
16.
16. You see her eyebrows raise, and she goes, Count Quillen, I deeply respect your station. But you came to me for help. I will not help if you are not honest. Where did you get this?
Did you hear of the attacks that occurred yesterday?
Briefly, I heard that the two of you were involved in some sort of scuffle in Ryan's temple. Maybe a dashed lover of the previous season. I didn't hear much about who or why or how. Temple of Ryan's a poor spot to air your grievances, but a woman scorned is not to be trifled with, as they say.
Well, you shouldn't have heard much, but to be frank, what truly occurred was more heinous than let on. We were attacked. We are shaken, as you can see from my compatriots here, and we would like information.
I might be able to help. You see, she puts down her sewing kit, and the one of the mannequins brings her some glasses, empty glasses, and she'll take her sphere, and you see her cast runes in the air, and then move her hand over the glasses, and wine pours into each of the glasses. She picks up her spear and says, "Come, this is no place for a conversation," and motions you deeper into the second floor.
I'll just look back and say, I got it, guys. Stay here. And then
if they're uncomfortable, they may go back downstairs.
Yeah, I'll like put my arm around her shoulders and like guide her back through the maze down the stairs.
Good.
Me? I don't know if Eleanor is moving forward, I'm moving forward with Eleanor.
Okay, never mind.
Would
you like wine while we're moving forward?
I think you can take the technology wine.
What? I thought the wine was for us.
There's a moment as Renshaw goes to pull Oriana back, and Oriana steps forward, where like your hand catches her arm, and you're both like moving in opposite directions. Can I have Oriana make another wisdom saving throw?
Oh, I thought it was a sexy roll, like in a performance check. Like, how many butterflies did we get when we touched?
Renshaw, can you give me a sexy roll?
To the waves.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, give me just straight charisma.
That's a dirty 20. That's actually not true. You changed it from sexy to charisma. It's a 16.
What were you rolling for your sexy?
I gave myself a plus 7.
Performance?
I gave myself a plus 5 with proficiency.
Renshaw mechanically is as sexy as possible. That's funny.
You made something up, so I made something up.
That's fair. I'll give you the dirty 20. The dirty 20, both Larissa and Eleanor absolutely catch all the sexiness of the moment. Oriana, what did you get?
I rolled an 11.
Okay.
Better than the nines.
The sound begins to return to your ears.
Okay.
As your arm is caught by Renshaw and you turn and you lock sexy eyes with Renshaw.
Eleanor can.
And then
handle...
I think I just pull out of his grasp, and I'm not keeping my back turned long enough to like keep my eyes locked with Renshaw because I'm not leaving Eleanor alone.
Oriana, if you would like to go wait by the carriage, it is fine here. Truly.
Larissa will turn to you, Oriana, and say, if you do not wish to have the wine, I can fabricate something else if you would like.
No, wine is fine. And I will stay.
Count Eleanor, your friend's okay. You have quite
said,
strange company.
Well, Renshaw is a Viscount. We were attacked yesterday.
Well, that is
I'm sure
fair.
you can understand.
No, that is fair. Come to the back room. And she motions, and the mannequin holding these glasses of wine starts to shuffle behind her. Some of the wine is like spilling out of the glasses as it's doing its best to like keep them level. One of the mannequins shuffles. And as you guys, Renshaw, are you staying upstairs or are you going back downstairs?
No, I'll follow the group.
Okay. As you move past the mannequin that had the fur vest, you see it, like as you move past it, it shifts and turns to the other side to you and like presents itself.
Very nice.
And then it goes as you move past it.
What kind of fur is it?
It looks like rabbit.
Okay.
I should have made you roll for that, but it looks like rabbit. You guys move into her a back room. She has a table set with nothing fancy, but certainly more not extravagant, but in no way the personal chambers of like a peasant who works in their tailoring.
Workroom for a Viscount.
A workroom for a Viscount, exactly. She has plenty of amenities, and she is wanting for nothing. She motions you guys to sit down at the table as she sits across from you. And she says, she'll look to Oriana and says, my assistant downstairs says you brought this in. It has a connection with the attack yesterday.
That is correct.
She'll sit the swatch on the table and say, where did this swatch come from?
What import is its origin?
What import is the material to you?
It came from the attack. Let that be enough.
I have worked with some of the finest cloths that Calidor has to offer. I've seen vestments fit for Queen Rember herself. None have compared to what she points to the cloth on the table, to what she has produced. And she'll point to a small roll of fabric in her personal chamber.
Mm-hmm.
and it is a bright white roll of fabric. And she goes, that is called sericum. Or at least that is what she calls it. If I'm being honest, I do not know what it is made out of, nor do I expect her to give away her secrets. But for as long as the Blacksbanes have lived in Grey Castle, so has she been the finest tailor in Calidor. But I'll ask again, why do you want to know of this? Why trouble yourself with how these things are, these things are, or how they are made?
I want to know what it does.
It is fabric. It is brilliant. It is the most exquisite silk I've ever seen anywhere in Ethereum.
So it's expensive.
It is priceless.
Are there magical properties attached?
The clothes that I have stitched of it, I have not enchanted. But I have been told that it retains enchantments unlike any other fabric that we know of. The vestments I made for the Priest of the Enlightened are some of the best work I've ever made.
Could you tell which magical properties are imbued in this?
That's a good question. Let me see. Can she do that? No, she cannot. No, I cannot. That is not my specialty. And she'll take her sphere and place it on the table. And she goes, "This does not. It is not of any divination magic. I have no way of determining what these are. You have a cloak of the Ashen Order. I imagine that they are quite skilled at sniffing out magic. You tell me." And she'll move the magic, the swath towards Oriana.
Do you know of anyone who could know this information? Who could acquire this for us?
Who would know how it is enchanted? The enchanter?
Or what it is enchanted with?
I would look to the Ashen Order. That is their job, is it not? To protect the city from dangerous magic? Ask them. If you're looking for who enchanted this swath, and she points to it, well, the only person who would know is the person who bought it. And I imagine the only person who knows who bought it is themselves and she who made it.
And who made it?
Again, I must ask, why do you need to know? And actually, with your passive insight, you can see there is fear in Larissa's eyes.
Well, just like you said, the Ashen Order needs to protect its people, and that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to protect my people.
Give me a persuasion check, or deception, whether you want, and you can make it with advantage.
With advantage?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I already got a dirty 20.
Oh.
Ooh.
And that one's not a natural, so.
That does beat a 17. She looks to the three of you. She calls herself the Spindle Maiden.
Spindle Maid?
The Spindle Maiden.
Maiden.
Spindlemaiden. The Spindle Maiden.
Sorry, is that the name of the person who made the cloth, or the
Yes.
person who made?
Yes, this
Okay.
is the Spindle Maiden.
This is she.
This is
Is
she.
the sheep.
She who
Well,
makes
I mean,
the cloth, the Seracum. She goes, very little is known of the Spindle Maiden, and even fewer know how to find her.
Do you know where to find her?
Unfortunately, I do. Tell me, graduates of Ravenwell Prep, why have we cremated the bodies of most of our dead for the last 211 years?
Space.
Space is a good answer. More importantly, fear of what the witches do to the bodies after life has left them. And do you know what we did before those times? What we did for the first 3 centuries of Thalia? Not many know. It is not taught in school. But Thalia's dead was not buried in the woods, for it was too dangerous. Nor were they buried in our fields, for it would rot the crops. Our dead was buried under the city, under the old city. That is where the Spindle Maiden resides, in the forgotten catacombs beneath Avondale Hill. But these catacombs are not for the faint of heart. There's more than death and corpses beneath Greywall Castle. The catacombs are a maze. Again, a maze that is home to more than just the Spindle Maiden. Things that are born to the dark. I take it that if we are having this conversation, you're going to want to know how to navigate this maze. I will tell you how to reach the Spindle Maiden, but only if you promise a favor in return.
Naturally.
I want an empty favor. How fun.
What was that, Jake?
An empty favor. How fun.
She stands up and begins to go through one of her bags of holding. And as she does, all 3 of you, your attention is kind of grabbed as the siphon on the table, which Renshaw at this point you notice is considerably smaller than the one currently on your person, I believe.
Indeed.
Yeah.
How she leaves the sphere behind. She gets up and she begins to walk away, and as it is now the only thing on the table aside from your glasses, all of your eyes kind of fall upon it as the energy within kind of pulses, and Renshaw, you in particular can kind of feel that like call of like untapped energy asking to be called upon, to be wrought into the world. And Larissa goes through one of her bags of holding, and she goes, apparently, one of my last payments to her was not satisfactory. Deliver this on my behalf. And she pulls out of the bag a vial. It's about this big, a couple inches in height. A glass vial, corked at the top, with brilliant red liquid inside. The red is ruby red, and it is shedding the faintest bit of light, but it is like a neon red liquid within that swirls faintly with these like black wisps that float through the water. And she takes the vial and she sets it on the table in front of you. And she says, do not open the vial. I promise you that no degree of curiosity is worth the consequences of opening that.
Well, I wasn't even thinking about it until she said that.
Deliver this to her, and I will tell you where you can find her.
Is
You
it
gotta tell
dangerous?
us.
Even corked?
No, not corked.
Why do you pay her if you make these cloaks for the Spindle Maiden?
I pay her for the materials, and she motions towards the roll of identical fabric. Hers is in white, and she goes, "Did you think the finest garments of Blacksbane were only made by dirty hands and rusty needles? They are made by magic, and they are made by things darker than people would like to admit."
How often do you attract depraved?
Depraved? I've never seen depraved before.
But certainly, I mean, no disrespect, lady, but your magic, it calls to them. It lures them into the city.
If that's what they say, is it not? But I doubt that one tailor in her shop is gonna attract the beasts of the forest. Besides, I'm by far not the only person in this city wielding magic to keep the counts afloat, don't you think?
Of course.
Besides, if what they say is true about the runic magic, I'm sure that it was the legions of mages from from Drayden's Academy that came here almost 5 decades ago now, that brought the depraved again. Not a few lowly viscounts trying to make their way in the big city.
Okay, I think it's time for us to go.
She goes, "Yes, but my end of the bargain." And she will begin to write this information down on some paper for you. Actually, no, she's above that. She's going to talk it out loud, and her mage hand that she's going to cast is going to pick up a quill and is going to scrawl it on paper for you. She's going to say, "To reach the Spindle Maiden, there's an entrance to the catacombs on the southern street of the Winding Mire. Once within, follow the signs for the resting chosen. Once there, you will follow the path towards the high tomb, always moving so the rumble of the falls becomes fainter and fainter until you hear no sound at all. You will come to a junction where to your right is a hall, and to your left is the crypt of the Nameless. By all the Novem keep holy, do not cross into that crypt. I cannot think of a worse fate than for something within there to see the light of day. When at that intersection, turn to the right, and the hall will lead you directly to her.
And I will grab the vial off the table and put it in my pocket.
I wish you the best of luck in the dark below the city. Bring a light. And she will stand from the table as you guys begin to take the vial off. And she goes, "But, Count Quillen, Viscount Renshaw, Cloak, is there anything I may be of service tailor-wise? Or is this the reason you paid me a visit?"
This was all. Thank you.
Well, have a lovely day. And if you decide to, of your better judgment, and avoid the catacombs beneath Avondale Hill, return the vial promptly, so I may send another runner down below.
Do you often send runners?
Only when I cannot go myself.
And they return?
Usually.
Okay. Novum bless you. Thank you. And where we going?
And she... Yes.
Go.
What do you say?
So, on my way out, I will turn to her and look at her sphere, and then look at her and just say, "The depraved, they're in the city, so stay safe." And then I'll leave.
She she doesn't have any words of rebuttal to that, but her eyebrows kind of raise as you turn and leave. You guys make your way back through the mannequins and the maze of garments back down the stairs, where the woman at the desk greets you again, and she goes, Was the meeting with the Viscount successful? Good. Was she able to give you what you were looking for?
Yes, it was so helpful. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Be careful.
And I'll give her my glass of wine.
Oh, thank you so much. I will enjoy this thoroughly. I hope you
carry your glass all the way downstairs.
I forgot to put it down upstairs.
I just left mine on the table.
And she goes, "Oh, thank you. Is it empty or is there still wine in it?"
Oh no, I didn't drink any of it. It was magic wine.
Giving her an empty glass of wine is funny though. Take this, woman. And yeah, she's thank you. I hope you found what you were looking for, and stay safe, please.
You as well.
Thank you.
November bless.
November bless.
And is it still raining?
It is drizzling out.
Okay.
Gloomy.
Nice.
Can we get into the carriage
Yeah.
and like be all together?
Yeah, absolutely. As you even begin to step out the door, your carriage driver is there, shielding you from the rain and gets you immediately into the carriage. And he begins to take you to wherever your next destination is.
I think as I get in the carriage, I sit down in the seat, and I'm just kind of like pulling the hood just kind of like over my face, and I kind of say to Eleanor, thank you in there. It's just so much better dealing with the Viscounts than I am.
Oh, there's no problem. Yes. Are you quite alright?
Yeah. It was a lot. Renshaw, do you need me to carry that?
The
I
vial?
don't know if it's safe.
I mean,
I
as
don't-
long
I
as it
don't know
doesn't
if-
get unstoppered, I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
Unless you don't trust me to carry it.
It's not that I don't trust you, it's that I don't trust the vial. But if you're comfortable with it, by all means.
I trust the glass.
I do have a small bag of holding at my house if we wanted to put it away until time. Are we really going to go forth with this? I mean, she just offered up this information, but a spindle maiden under the catacombs? This sounds a bit
Far-fetched?
fanciful.
Well, she did have, mannequins walking around.
And a deal's a deal. We already said we would.
Yeah, but she said we could
Said we
back
could
out.
return it.
Which is very nice of her. She gave us the information, and then we could just back out and give her the vial. I mean,
No, I'll
Did you
keep my word.
notice- But I mean, Oriana.
okay. You're scared to go into the catacombs within the city, but you're gonna go out to the Rangers Guild in the woods?
And be surrounded by rangers?
He makes an excellent point.
Surrounded by people who have set out to make a safe experience for me that you guys are afraid to attempt, but want to venture under the city?
It's in the city. What could be there?
Did you hear? Depraved, for one.
Well,
If they
depraved
were
are out in the woods
depraved-
too, and there's just dead in the catacombs.
If they were depraved under the city, they would just walk right out of the catacombs into the city. We'd have a terrible infestation.
Did we know about the catacombs before this? Like, was it a France situation where there was some sections that people could peek their head into, but you don't go deep? Or
Yeah, give me a history or a legend check.
Oh, roll it. But she called them the Forgotten Catacombs, so that sounds pretty forgotten.
that's why I was thinking maybe a further back
Yeah,
section.
actually, I'm just gonna say I don't remember. I'm not even gonna roll for it.
That is a 22 for history.
Wow.
Ooh, I have a 14.
Cool. Oriana, you would not have heard anything about
Yeah.
these catacombs. Eleanor, I think you have, on a 22, you have a moment that you remember where, as a kid, going through, I guess not as a child, but in Ravenwell Prep, you, going through your history lessons, and they had mentioned, the founding of Thalia, and the first wall that they built, and then expanding to the second wall, and then asking questions about like, oh, like how did the people live back then and stuff. You had stumbled upon a professor that was like, oh, or a tutor that was like, oh, like they're when the lords of Blacksbane, when the High Lords of Blacksbane were, or ladies, or the lieges of Blacksbane were buried, they were buried under the Castle Greywall, along with, not in the same chamber with, but along with the residents of the city, were all buried in like a set of catacombs underneath. It hasn't been used in hundreds of years. To the point where even most elves that are alive today may not have been born when the catacombs were still in use. And so it's been a very long time since they've been used, but on a 22, like you remember having that conversation where you kind of put together like, oh, like I remember like that being like a fun bit of information that you knew that your other peers didn't know, and you kind of like figured out on your own.
I mean, this is ancient, and more importantly, what are we going to do if we find her?
That's a good question. I mean, she probably doesn't have any information. She just makes the fabric. I mean, for all we know, Larissa could make the cloaks.
But Larissa said that she would know who she sold it to. And this was a different color fabric.
Are we just gonna chase down?
We do have... I suggest that at least before we take this route, we attempt other paths. We have the mage from the attack from yesterday in Blacktomb. We can go, or Oriana, you could go as part of your investigation. She had on a cloak as well. Like, this is the lead that we're following. We don't quite yet have to go to this type of a source if it means the three of us trudging through.
We don't have to go right now. But it is still on my mind.
Yeah,
and I will consider.
You raise a good point, Eleanor. Like, we don't have to chase the paper trail. We have more primary sources we could investigate first.
At least see, because talking to someone in a dungeon seems a lot safer than the unknown. That we were actually specifically told that if we go a certain way, meets a fate worse than death.
Well, we just wouldn't go that way.
Of course. As we're talking, I want to pull out my sketchbook and start sketching, like, scenes of the room and just
sure.
like, for myself, but to have of like the runic magic. And I think as I'm doing it and kind of going through and we're talking, I also do one of like Renshore with his arm around Oriana with her cloak up. It's just like part of like the room sketches.
Yeah. No, that's really good.
As you're sitting here sketching, the carriage has not moved from in front of the tailory.
No, I think I would have told them before we got in to go to the Tyrval keep.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, it is making its way towards Tyrval keep. Excellent. Yeah. Are there any other stops in town you guys as triplets would like to make?
It's a weird way to put that.
The highborn triplets?
Yeah.
The two dated, the other one's half the height.
Yeah. I'll workshop that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Please do.
Okay.
The trio?
The trio.
Three amigos.
Cool. Excellent. The carriage will arrive at the Tyrval Manor and as it stops, so does the rain begin to let up. And the carriage driver gets out and opens the door for Oriana and Renshaw, and Eleonore if she'd like to get out as well.
Well, this was certainly the day trip.
Yes. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Are you coming in?
I have business to attend to.
Oh, okay.
Excellent. I cannot remember if I mentioned this last session. So if I did it already, then I'll just repeat it now. But if I did not, then this is happening for the first time. The carriage driver, as the two of you get out, goes, Lady Quillen, we did get the letter. Yeah, yep, because we talked, yep. Scratch that.
I do, before you guys leave, I, rip a page out from my sketchbook, and it's the transcribed Moorish lore legend of the Nox that I got, and I just say, I found something in that book that before everything went wrong. It's an old legend, but it was right by the page that... it seems kind of relevant. It certainly has the witches involved and the depraved, and, well, you can see for yourself. And I kind of hand it over for you guys to be able to take and read.
Yeah.
Because it says Cinderfall in here. Oh, yeah. So as I'm talking about it, I go, and the most interesting passage, Ren. It says here, I am the knell that calls the beast. Isn't that quite interesting?
Whoa! So that book was written by Nell?
No. I think you're missing. I am the knell. The knell that calls the beast.
He's one of many.
I am of blood. I am released. The omen of rot is here. See, this sounds...
Maybe we shouldn't say this out loud. This sounds awful.
I just think that perhaps... Nell is bullshit. But I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know how to tell you that you're wrong in any other way.
I tried the polite way and it didn't work, and I'm just like...
Oh, I see. Well, I was stressed that evening.
Of course.
I may have misunderstood.
As is within your right.
So,
anyways,
what are we calling this creature now?
Nox. It is of a Nox. It is a Nox.
He's a Nox.
I don't think it's its name. I think that's its kind.
Okay.
As you are human, as Oriana is Asamara, and as I am gnome.
I see. So it's a Nox, and it's the Nell.
No.
What?
Well, it is the Nell that calls the beast, but I think that you are taking a bit of language incorrectly. We can do some research into what a Nell is.
I'm just gonna forget the whole Nell thing.
That's
as long
probably
as
the
you
best.
understand it, it's okay. Oh, and in your book tonight, if you could, because I was doing research as well, if you could look up a Moorish legend of a Excretus Umbra, that would be most appreciated.
Of course. What is that?
What do you need that for?
I honestly don't know. It came up around Cinderfall, and it's something that may or may not benefit us, but I felt
it is here in the passage. The warrior was called many names: Hala Witch, the Iron Capra, Extratricris Umbra. So it is in this passage that I found.
Oh.
Here.
There you go.
Take it. Read it. Burn it.
Well, that is most I guess I wouldn't even call it coincidental. It makes sense. Mine came up with this word, yours came up with the same word. It sounds like we're just backing each other up.
Of course.
From the same source. Never mind. We just did 2 separate researches with never mind. That wasn't extra information. Apologies. Anyways.
Well, have a splendid sleepover, you two. I must admit, when the High Priest, offered protection, I did not know that Oriana was that guard.
I somehow doubt that. I say jokingly, not insultingly. As I know, Eleanor, I feel like you like to meddle a little bit in our relationship.
Well, have fun.
Okay. After you, Oriana, I'll hold the door open for you.
Thank you.
I have a carriage driver for that.
Is he holding my front door? Did he walk all the way to the front door for me?
He's like, yeah,
Did
I've
they
been
probably
here the whole.
knock?
He's been here the whole time. He just has the
Knock,
door open.
and is just waiting.
He's like, that's a crazy passage you got there. That's horrifying. I don't know what the hell that thing is, but that seems scary as shit.
We also said it out loud.
I imagine you did all of this like before he gets out and comes to the door. Oh yeah, he'll open the door and like motion for you guys to come out.
I was holding the front door, the house door.
He was entering the manor.
Gotcha.
House door.
Excellent.
Which, yes, there is a doorman there to hold it as well, but I felt like it would be fun to hold it.
How gentlemanly of Renshore.
Mhm.
Chivalry is not dead in Thalia.
Yeah, I didn't make my servant do it.
Excellent. As the Renshore and Oriana enter Tyrval Manor, Eleanor, where do you direct your carriage driver to take you now?
Really quickly,
Yes.
before we part ways with Eleanor, or before like our stories diverge, where did the vial go? Did Renshore give it to Eleanor to put in the bag of holding? Because she mentioned it, but you didn't. I didn't see you hand it over, so I don't know. Did you just take it?
She brought it up, and then I forgot to give it to her.
And then that's
No,
what I thought.
Did you want to pass it? Because I did bring it up.
I mean, I did want to, but it's still in
Yeah,
my pocket.
no, you can pass it. Absolutely.
Like, I would have put out my hand when I said that.
Okay, then you have it.
Okay.
Cool. Excellent. So Eleanor has the vial. Eleanor, where would you, and now this vial, like to go?
Well, I got that letter. So
Yes.
What time is it? I guess that's not till sunset, but if not, I probably have stuff to do in the city. Like, I have a job.
Yeah.
So I'd probably do that until the sunset, at least.
Perfect. Yep. So you...
It's got to be getting close to evening. We already did lunch, and then we had this whole encounter at Larissa.
Yeah. So maybe I'll just,
And the
like,
game
pop
floor.
in to the tributary to, like, get my dad back on, like, on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
And, like, just, like, position correct him before I leave.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah, excellent. And so the carriage sits off. The tributary is in Thornley, correct? Is that where we are?
Yes.
Okay, so the carriage heads back towards Thornley, and as the carriage moves over, actually, what gate is that? As it moves through the Caldwell Gate into the old city on Asphodel Hill, you can't help but feel like the ground, even sitting in the carriage, feels slightly more hollow, knowing that what is beneath may lie beneath you. And again, as you head north to your duties, we'll take a quick break and return shortly back for more City of Shadows.
I think I have an answer for this, except I want to do a quick Google.
Yeah, I'm like, I know the favorite fantasy world, but like, do I? Is it really my favorite? I need to Google it. I need more info.
Are you Googling if the actual world is called Middle Earth?
I'm actually Googling the safest age of Middle Earth.
Oh.
I'm just going to say the beginning of the Third Age.
It's a good idea.
'Cause, yeah, the beginning of the Third Age was when Sauron was defeated the first time, so everything was pretty hunky-dory right then.
The hardest thing for me about this question is that like so many of these high fantasy worlds are sexist as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'd love to go to Lord of the Rings, but like me personally, it's not gonna fly. There's only 4 females in all of Middle Earth. I can't jump in as the 5th.
You're the 5th female in Middle Earth.
There's got to be more than 4.
Name 3.
Galadriel, Eowyn, Arwen, Goldberry.
The 5th is Aubrey.
Me, Aubrey.
Aubrey. There was that child in the movies.
Tori, what about you?
In general, I would be okay with any fantasy world where it's acceptable to like wield a sword in public and I could like appropriately use a sword like as a career. I think that would be really fun. But if I had to pick like a specific world, I would probably pick like the Percy Jackson realm with the idea that I get to be one of the half-bloods, because if I'm just a person living in Percy Jackson, then it's just the same world.
That's now.
Who would be your parent? Your godly parent?
I don't know. That's also such a tough question.
Really? You don't have that on the top of your head, like locked and loaded?
The problem is, I want to be a warrior of Artemis, right?
Yeah. But you want to fuck?
Yeah, it's tough.
John, what's yours?
Hands down pick the Star Wars universe. I know it's not like typical fantasy,
But a little bit of a different direction.
Different direction.
Still sci-fi. Sci-fi's still fantasy.
Sci-fi's there.
Yeah.
I would love it. I think I could fit into any period of Star Wars history and I could make it work.
Would you try to be a Jedi?
It's so tough. I don't think so. I like the scrappier, like you're just a person in this really cool world and you're trying to make it work.
So write in the comments below what you think your favorite fantasy realm to live in would be.
Dearest Oriana, I don't know what I'm doing. I cannot write to her. Not anymore. But so much has happened, and I just need someone to talk to. Someone who can listen to all the things that I cannot tell her. I found my grandsire's siphon, and I've been practicing runic magic. It's illegal, and super dangerous. But I do not wish to stop. I wish to understand where I come from, who my grandsire and family were before Thalia and before the depraved. And I believe I need all the help I can get. As your Viscount, I implore you to like and subscribe, and together we can keep the depraved out of this city and save her.
Welcome back to more City of Shadows. As we come back to dreary Thalia, as the rain begins to let up across the city, we find ourselves in the foyer of Tyrval Manor as Renshaw and Oriana enter back into the main hall.
Well, Renshaw, thank you for accompanying me this afternoon. Your presence was quite helpful.
Of course. I don't know that my presence was that helpful, but I was happy to be there. Are you gonna join us for dinner?
I wasn't quite sure that I was invited to dinner.
Well, this is the invitation.
I don't know how your father would feel about me joining you for dinner.
You're not joining me. It's not like that unless... It's not like that. you're joining us. You're having dinner with us. You're a new guest in the house.
I wouldn't classify myself as a guest. And I don't think your father would either. I don't think the servants of the house sit with you for dinner.
You're not a servant
and
of the house.
And I don't believe your father very much likes me at the moment.
He doesn't like anything. He doesn't like me either, but I'm going to dinner.
Yeah, but your presence is mandatory.
And I'm not going to make yours mandatory, but I would like you there.
And you don't mind your father being bothered by my presence there?
No. Part of me enjoys his bothersome attitude. The fact that you are a thorn in his side does bring me a little joy.
That's fair. Well, if you request it, I shall be there. And I will join.
I would much appreciate it.
So I will head back to my quarters, to wherever my stuff is. Still kind of unsure where that is. I think it's with the other servants.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's in like the group room with the other servants. And I will take off my hooded cloak and take off the leather tabard and my sword and leave it with my stuff. But I am still wearing my black Ashen Order uniform underneath. It is still like the turtleneck tunic. It still has the Ashen Order bands on the arm. It'll have the emblem on the chest still. She's still in her boots. So she's not getting like changed into anything formal. She's still like partially in uniform, but a little bit more respectful for dinner than sitting down in her sword and probably wet leather from being out in the rain. And when dinner is ready, I will make my way out.
The dinner bell rings and the table is set. You arrive as Arthas is sitting at the head of the table. The currently only other occupant at this meal is Kazdeth Tyrval, Renshor's youngest brother. Blonde hair, skinny, coming to the end of his time at Ravenwell Prep and getting ready for his departure eventually for Scrollspire the next year. He waits for his meal, and Oriana, do you arrive with Renshore or after Renshore? I can leave that to Renshore as well.
I think I just make my way from my quarters towards the dining room. And I don't know if Renshore is already in there or if I pass him on my way.
You'll probably... I want to be there before you get there. Cool. To avoid any...
Good choice.
Awkwardness there. So yeah. I was basically there before the bell rang. I was first.
Yeah. The table is set, the meal is provided, and the meal begins in silence as Arthas does not look up from his plate as it is served and begins to cut his meat, and Kazdeth, as usual, is too quiet to speak first. Do either one of you break the silence?
So, Kazdeth, how was your day at Ravenwell?
It was fine, brother. We did our studies on the towns and trade of Thalia and House Blacksbane, the imports and exports coming from the southern towns and our port towns, as well as how those logistical tracks change when the war had started.
Right, of course.
How was
And
how was your day at the town?
it was good, you know. Do you remember the Warwick family? They have a cousin, Jacques. He opened a new game store in town, so we stopped in, said hi to him.
Oh, excellent. I do remember Jock. He was quite jovial back when you introduced me.
He still is. He's still got a lot of energy, so.
Without looking up, Arthas says, if I remember correctly, the guards are served dinner in the servants' quarters. Has that changed, Renshaw?
No. But guests are allowed to eat at the dinner table, Father. I invited Oriana to have dinner with us as our guest this evening. Plus, I believe her instruction was to not let me out of her sight. That would be rather difficult to do from the guard room. Now, how was your day among the pristine?
Productive. I made arrangements for Kazdeth to be transported to Scrollspire Academy. And you see Kazdeth speaks up. He goes, "Oh, Father, I am not set to go until over the summer. My courses at Scrollspire don't begin until next fall." And Arthas cuts him off and says, "The arrangements have already been made. You'll be leaving as soon as the Ravenwell Prep graduation occurs." And Kazdeth kind of nods with him. "Thank you, Father. Your punctuality is appreciated."
Yes, that's so exciting. You're soon graduating.
Yes, I believe that I'll be. It will be.
Do you know what you're going to major in?
I would like to apply to be a Lord of Law, which would interest me quite a bit. And you see the utensils of Arthas be set down as he sits up, and Kazdeth kind of stumbles over his words. He goes, "Or I could still study to be a Lord of War and become a knight, if that is what the family needs."
Kazdeth, your happiness is of utmost importance.
With that, Arthas is going to sit up straight and first look to Oriana and says, "Out now."
Father.
I drop my utensils and I'll get up and leave.
That is most improper.
Kazdeth, leave us. And Kazdeth silently nods and gets up, walks away, excuses himself from the table, and with a motion of his hand, he dismisses the servants from the room, and everyone kind of shuffles out. When are you going to be useful to this family, Renshaw?
Probably after you die.
Is that so? Because last I checked, you do not handle tragedy well. 10 weeks sulking around these halls?
You pretended like they never existed.
Another winter brideless. No, worse than brideless. A failed scion and a failed engagement has no place in this house. You speak to Kazith of happiness.
When was the last time you were happy?
Happiness is irrelevant.
Yeah? If you were happier, maybe you'd treat the family a little better.
Do not speak to me about how family is treated. I treat this family with respect, with what I do every day. The way I hold myself, the way I work for this family.
Fantastic.
Since I left Ethra's Grove, I've been providing for you and your brothers. And what thanks do I get? But spending my hard-earned shades at games for childrens and simpletons.
Clalion thanked you. And then when he died, you forgot him.
He knew of responsibility. Both your brothers did.
And I leave.
The door closes behind you, and your father sits there in silence. As we move away from the dining room, Renshaw, where do you where do you go to clear your mind, to cool off, or to anger yourself more?
I'm gonna go up to my room. There's a particular book I'd like to try waving my hands at again.
I love it. Excellent. Yeah, give me an Arcana check for me, and you can do it with advantage, as I think some of the reins that have been on it are the training wheels are kind of coming off a little bit.
19.
Ooh, boy. Yeah, you start to go through this book, and you are delving into the magic of it, and you almost skip past the first section that your grandsire has written, where he talks about simple enchantments that you can pull from the siphon and or from the sphere, and immediately go to the magic, the spells of it, and you begin to look into the mechanically, not only the first level spells, but you start to look immediately to the second level, the third level, and you, even though you don't quite understand this stuff, like you are flipping to pages beyond, like a step above what you were looking at last time, and you feel like you have at least a grasp on some of it, and you can feel in front of you that call from the depths of your sphere to just take a sip of that energy.
I'm flipping through the book and just so angry. I find one just called Sanctuary, and that sounds exactly what I need. Don't know what it does. Don't know if it takes me somewhere else or what.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try my best just to wiggle my hands.
Yeah, absolutely. You move your hands. What level spell is Sanctuary?
It's a first level spell.
Okay. No, that's totally fine. You
Just a baby.
You said sit.
you move your hands, and this time, as you cast, you feel the magic flow from the sphere into you. Whereas the last time you kind of scraped the surface, you feel the magic flow into you. As you trace the things in the air, you and you alone can see the magic sprawling from your fingers. What do you think that the casting of a spell like this looks like? As you move your hands, and as you do, you're cutting through the air with the magic.
Yeah, so Sanctuary, I mean, it's a lot of like fluid motions, sharp edges.
Yeah.
Two-handed, kind of making some runic letters in the air. And it's supposed to be a 30-foot range, but I am literally casting it on myself. So at some point, I mean, I guess I'd turn my hands on myself.
Yeah, and you absolutely, and you feel empowered. You can see the runes, again, only that your eyes can see, begin to float around your body. You imbue them into your person, and you feel stronger. You feel like nothing your father could say could hurt you. You feel nothing that Oriana could say could hurt you. You feel like not even the beast in the attic could strike you now. As you,
Is it there currently?
Yeah, the beast currently right above you. No, your skin feels thick, and that like emotional barrier that you put up to have that argument with your father feels physical on your skin. And you've never felt so strong before, ever. And the only thing that I don't even know if it would waive your confidence at all, but the only thing that is a different feeling aside from strength and power is the sphere sitting in front of you only calls for you to take another sip. A deeper, stronger sip.
I don't know any of the second level spells that are in the book.
You gotta do some studying.
And so you don't know how to move your hand to do it, but that the siphon in front of you just tells you to take another sip, and it is excited that you're here.
Is it dark out?
Yes, between it getting later in the day and the clouds that are still out, it is not bright.
And I'm just gonna sit in my room and just kind of clear my thoughts, just meditate a little bit.
Absolutely. As you do, on your Arcana check, you would learn. Give me 1 second. I don't want to lead you astray.
I got some puzzles, my dude. Has Jacob been working on the puzzles at all?
No,
IRL?
honestly, not recently.
That's okay.
Solve those puzzles. We need Eleanor and
We need some
Oriana
extra
need that
magic.
information.
You look and you see that one of the pages on the corner, as you're clearing your mind and you're coming down from this high, is there on one of the pages, on page 4, there's a little marking by your grandsire that says 4, looks like X, the number 6. 4 times 6, 4 by 6, something along those lines. And you remember that, actually, it should be 6x4, I think is what it says. And you see that you remember looking at his pages the first time. There are jumbles of letters in sets of 24, and that catches your eye. And as you're coming down from this, you're like, oh, that is something that you noticed immediately, but didn't quite see the 6 by 4. And as the gears start turning, and that again, you feel impervious to anything that could come your way. You're feeling confident, you're feeling smart, you're feeling strong, and you get to work on your grandsire's journal. As Renshaw works in his room, the sphere there, ever waiting for him to take another sip. Oriana, where do you go after dinner?
I would have made my way back to the servants' quarters. I would have grabbed my mat that hopefully was dropped off by now with the rest of my stuff.
Yep.
And I will make my way towards the backyard into the gardens that I have been before on the manor's property, and find a quiet spot back there and do my own worship, my own version of Vignacci, and I'll go through my 3 talos on my own time here. I will not be using any points of my rage in this, although I will save that for 3 a.m. when I wake up and come back out here again to do that at a later time.
Okay, perfect.
But for right now, I'm just gonna sit out here and do my Vignacci before making my way back to the servants' chambers to end my day.
Perfect. We move across the city to find Eleonore. You stand. You finish your work at the tributary. You talk to Kier, and as the sun begins to set, are you making your way towards the Rangers Guild?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Oh, girly all alone.
I think I tell Kier as I leave, I'm like, Papa, I am going off to the Rangers Guild. I'm so excited. Thank you for this wonderful gift.
Excellent. Yes. Perfect. Yeah, of course. I have a excellent time. Stay safe. And yeah, whatever you do, I need to see those drawings when you're finished.
Of course. I'm so excited. My portfolio, it's going to look so good and unique.
It will be one of a kind. And he'll kiss your forehead and then go back to his work.
That's a good father.
Better than yours.
At least my father is supporting
the whiplash.
At least my father
my
loves me.
artistic
The whiplash
endeavors.
from artist.
He's a little dumb, but he's got a good heart.
Yeah. You make your way north through Thornley until the high arches of Atwood Gate loom above you. The winged knights and clawed beasts that are carved into the gate gaze down motionlessly as iron chains rattle and the gate groans to life and begins to rise. Before you lays the cobblestone road that once led to the towns and shires of the woods that have all since been claimed by the darkness of Vermore. As the sun hangs low in the sky, shadows of the Wolf's Lodge and the Grimwatch Hall crawl across puddles between the pavers. The house banners that flank the stag grounds flutter as the evening breeze ripples through the pines of the forest. And there, about a quarter mile ahead, stands the edge of Vermore Forest. A towering wall of trunks and leaves, with a dark maw that is equally unsettling as it is mysterious. As the evening bells toll across the city, do you venture beyond Atwood Gate?
I think I just stand there for a moment. I don't know, I guess I don't know how far it is if my carriage would be going, but like it pauses or whatever. And I just think about how much I wanted this until everything actually happened. And my friends kind of being like, that's ridiculous. Like, who would ever like do that? That's insane.
Well, now you make us sound not supportive.
I would have been here with you if you told me you were going.
You turned down her dance. You turned down her invite to the...
I didn't know she was going
Grimwatch
today. I would have came with her.
And I just kind of like look out at it, and I'm definitely more spooked than I would have been had I gone like a week ago.
Yeah, for sure.
But then I just see the woods, and I don't think I've ever been this way outside of the city before.
Probably
Obviously, I've traveled south a good bit.
Yeah.
But even that was all mostly through like the passageway.
Yeah.
Like,
I would
in the
imagine
mountains.
you've probably been to the stag grounds before for like fairs or like tournaments
Yeah.
or things, but all of that you would have gone out the Dromos Gate to the
Like
to the east
not
and then
towards
headed
the
a
woods.
little bit north, but yeah, you wouldn't have gone. Rarely do people use Atwood Gate anymore.
Yeah, so I think I just am kind of seeing this dense forest that doesn't, like, I haven't seen before, even though obviously this is still like the clearing, like I'm not in the thick of it, but
Yeah.
just like kind of seeing it and just like leaning forward, and I'm like, it looks cool, it looks different, and I think that's all I need to be like, let's keep going.
Perfect. I also, is there any part of Eleanor that is like, when's the last time I did something for myself? Like, when's the last time that okay, oh, that's sad.
She's like, my dad sent me here.
My dad sent me here.
Honestly, if her dad was not like, oh, I'm doing this as a gift for you, like, she might have turned it down after, like, her friends expressing, like, oh, maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, she would have been like, you guys are so right. I should not go.
Oh.
But, like, the fact that her dad was like, this is a gift. She's like, I must.
I must go. So, as the bells finish their toll, Eleanor, you leave the gates and exit the city of Thalia. You move along this cobblestone path. You pass the Wolf Lodge, which is the headquarters for the Hunters Guild. You move past them, and much closer to the edge of the forest is the wooden structure that is Grimwatch Hall. You get to the front doors, and as you do, you see there are, like around the side, there are a couple, like animal pens that they have out there. You see there are some, they have some cows, they have some goats, some chicken coops out beside their, the hall. And on your passive perception, you see the goats getting a little riled up. They're kind of shuffling. They seem nervous. Some of them are like huddling into the corner, while some of them are standing near one of the edges of the pen and just staring into the woods. And you can hear like strange rustlings coming from behind the trees as you get to the front door. You knock on the front door, and the door cracks open a bit, and a young, probably like 14 or 15-year-old human peeks their head through the cracked door and says, can we help you?
I'm here for Yanis Gore. Gore?
Yanis, you looking for?
Gore.
Looking for
Ranger
Chief
Yanis Gore?
Lead Ranger? Yeah. I can go see if he's here. And the door closes real quick. And then you hear footsteps. And then for a moment, you are out here all by yourself. You can see there are some people moving around in the windows that you can see on the first and second floor of the building. You can see there is a couple people coming in and out of the Wolf's Lodge. Some people are out back smoking pipes. So there are people within eye line, but nobody immediately around you. Give me a perception check real quick.
Did you have to do this at night?
That's when he said to come. Sunset. That's a 25.
A 25. You look around, and you see there are, like, aside from the goats being kind of spooked, the other animals aren't really aren't responding the same way the goats are. You can see a flock of crows take off from within the forest and fly towards the city. You notice the tracks on the ground, both foot traffic and what looks like wagon wheels that lead into the woods. And you see deeper back on a 25, farther into the woods, a couple pair of of eyes flash in the darkness as the light of the sun reflects off of their pupils. Standing about the height of a deer, you see 2 or 3 pairs of eyes look back at you before moving deeper into the forest. And then the door opens, and a a tall, half-human, half-dwarven man stands in the doorway. And he goes, Count Heir Eleonore Quillen, I deeply apologize for our recruits' lack of etiquette towards you. Please come in immediately.
No worries.
And he brings you in. This is Yennis will see you immediately. And he motions, and you look around Grimwatch Hall, and you see it's very rustic in here. There's a huge fire pit in the middle with a chimney that goes up the center of the hall where people are gathering, and you see most people in the hall are all practicing some sort of skill. You see whether it's being taught as a lesson or just mindlessly doing it in repetition. Mm-hmm. There are from all ages of rangers between their young teenage years up until adulthood. There are some that are practicing knot tying. There are some that are cooking food, practicing building fires. You see some of them are these two of the younger rangers are just sitting back and forth and are just naming plants to each other, and they're just saying things back and forth. And some of them are sharpening weapons, or they're oiling their leathers, and just kind of this very, not in any way there's no urgency in here, but everyone's just kind of going about this work as cathartic as it is to them. And you are greeted also wearing the clothes of a ranger, but an old elf. The wrinkles on his face are deep. His ears are long and pointed. His hair has gone completely silver, and he comes approaching you with a cane in hand. And you see, he goes, Eleonore Quillen, it is lovely to see you. By Volsair, you look like your grandmother. I am Yennis Gore, lead ranger of Grimwatch. Please, come to our meeting chambers upstairs. We have much to talk about. And he reaches out for your hand.
I offer it.
He'll take your hand. He'll kiss your hand. He says, it means an immense amount to me that you've come out all this way to Grimwatch. Please, come. And he motions up the stairs for you.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. And then I think also just taking in the surroundings, I start to feel a little embarrassed about my day gown that I'm wearing. And, everyone's in these ranger clokes, yeah. And I'm in this red lacy gown, and I'm just I should have changed.
I didn't need to look this nice for these people. Yeah, for sure.
It's a very bright outfit to go into the woods with as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm I could have borrowed something of Oriana's.
I could have maybe worn some more browns or greens or something. Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't own anything in that dark of a color. She would have had to commission a gown to go out into the woods.
To hit up Larissa on the way over.
Yeah. Literally at the tailor, she was like, do you want anything here? And I was like, actually, I only wear red boar.
Actually, yeah.
I only wear Gucci, guys.
Yeah, I only wear red boar.
I don't want your shit.
Yeah. You see Yennis as he's going up the stairs with you, leads you towards a meeting hall. It is a dark set room with pillows set out on the floor. The center of the room, or I guess on the side of the room, is a fireplace that is currently the only light for this room, that sheds its glow around, and motions you towards one of the pillows that he has set out. and says, I must be honest, Lady Quillen, I have many mixed emotions about your presence. I deeply miss the relationship that I had with your family. But I know that that your parents have no need for me, since they are safe within the walls of the city. A fact that allows me to sleep soundly at night. Um, tea?
Of course, we appreciate the work that you do here.
Oh, of course, of course. Can I interest you in any tea?
Yes, please, thank you.
Excellent. You see,
And I try to like daintily sit down on this pillow.
he kind of chuckles and goes, I apologize for not having the amenities of Quillen Keep. I know it was...
It is wonderful here. I love to
No,
immerse
it is
myself.
not wonderful here. I have been to Quillen Keep in Thalia. I have been to Quillen Keep in Ethros Grove. I have been to Quillen Keeps all over House Blacksbane. And let me tell you, Quillen Keep is wonderful. This is not wonderful. No need to lie.
I'd love to hear everything. I've never been. Mama never talks about our old countryside manor.
Yes, your mother wasn't quite as fond as traveling as your grandmother was, but travel was what brought your parents together. So I guess she owes a little bit to that. Huh?
Don't tell her.
It will stay between us. And you see he has a little pot of tea over the fire that he pours for you and offers you a cup. He takes the cup as well before sitting across from you. The light of the fire casting like long shadows in the room and glowing on his face. Your father reached out to me before you returned to Scrollspire Academy. I must be honest, I like him quite a bit. I too hail from House Ashford, and it was pleasant to reminisce of places long forgotten. No, he is a good man.
That he is.
But on to the matter at hand. I swore my discretion to the House Watlands regarding this project they requested. Unfortunately for them, my loyalties are always to the Quillens first. The Watlands have begun a preparation, or the preparations for a expedition. They requested a trek north, far north, deep into the territory of the trees. I understand that you are seeking to experience the depraved. I must ask, why such a desire?
I'm sure you. It's a quite fanciful, childish desire, but well, there's nothing more unique than all of Etherean, and while I cannot wait to serve my true purpose in life as a count for this grand city, assuming that the war ends, I have 50 years before Mama retires and I take my seat upon. And so I would love to attend one of the art schools out in the Blessed Cities, and to do so, even you need a portfolio, and I just, well, it just seems so unique. These monsters that haunt us, and I never want to put anyone out and put anyone in danger, but the descriptions of them are so vivid that we hear about in school, and if I could just see one, if I could just copy it down, I mean...
You see, he chuckles and goes, well, now you really remind me of your grandmother. She, too, was not afraid in the slightest of the Vermore, and had a soft spot for art in the arts. She was no good. If anyone tells you that she was no good, and she admitted it. But she loved good art. I promised your father that if an opportunity arose for you to come on an expedition with us, we would offer an invitation. And that invitation is most certainly offered. It is of my professional opinion, however, that you do not take me up on this offer. The Vermore is no place for a count. The Watlands expedition will certainly encounter Cavum. They will find Godex and Yedin Vix, and that's if they're lucky. The depraved cannot be reasoned with. They are mindless, heartless things. And although they are fascinating, and although I would gladly give my life to protect you, as would any ranger on an expedition, it is not like the city out there. The comforts, the safety, it all is left behind at the edge of the forest. But I am honor bound to your grandmother and to your family. You will have a spot within our caravan, whether the Watlands approve or not.
I don't wish to put you or the other guards in danger to protect me.
To be fair, they will be in no greater danger with you there or not. The danger is the same.
How long is this expedition?
The expedition will most likely run for, well, we used to be able to do such expeditions over the course of 2 or 3 days, but I expect with how the forest has changed since I was leading expeditions, I would say 6 to 8 days of travel, there and back. More if the Watlands wish to stay. We'll probably bring 10 days of supplies, there and back.
The Watlands would be coming.
I believe one of them wishes to travel. Either Marvid or Olav, I do not know. I would assume Olav, as Marvid has duties in the Pristine, but Marvid was also the one most keen on it. So, I do not know.
And when do you set off?
We need time to prepare. We will be ready the 20th of Daysith, a little less than 2 months from now.
Will you tell me of her, my grandmother?
She was wonderful. She never took anything at face value. She always thought there was deeper meaning behind things. And I always scoffed when we had long talks during our travels. But if I'm being honest, she was almost always right. Even the simple things of the forest, she would look deeper, and she would see deeper, and she was wonderful. Some people disapproved of her. She had her secrets like everybody else, but she was a strong woman. Even when things seemed to be bad, she never lost hope. And even when the world changed and told her how to think about certain people or places, she always knew what was true in her heart. And she could always see the best in people. She also wasn't afraid to break the rules if it meant doing the right thing.
I miss her.
I miss her dearly.
It was different when she was at the manor. Mama and Paul, it was nice having another.
Yes. As much as it pains me to say it, the grandmother you knew at the manor was never her true self. She was her truest when she was traveling, when she was free. And I believe as she got older, the being confined by the constraints of life and of responsibility wore on her heart. But she was my favorite person.
Mine too. Well, I'd hate to put you out, but if you're offering, I would like to be like her.
I knew your grandmother, and she would not have said no either. So I cannot be surprised. But I will make the arrangements. If you need any accommodations, again, my loyalties are to the Quillins first, and always to the Quillins first. If I'm being honest, my political nature is not, my political skills are not good. So if, I do not plan on telling the Watlands that you will be traveling until it is too late for them to say no. Too late for them to give us a hard time about it.
I can handle anything else as well.
Excellent. Yes, we will be making preparations. I will ensure that you are kept in correspondence as things are made. And anything that you will need for the travel, we will accommodate.
Thank you.
Of course. It is wonderful to see you, Eleonore.
It's very nice to meet you.
Well, if there is anything else the Grimwatch can do for you or your family, call upon us immediately. But I will not hold you up from your duties or from the comforts of the city.
With my bit of a fascination with these creatures and the Veremore, you mentioned earlier some of the depraved. Have you heard of the Nox before?
Give me... Actually... Yeah. Give me a persuasion check as your passive insight clocks like that word have recognition with him.
Yeah. Dirty 20.
He goes, well, that is horribly interesting that you would ask. The Nox, as I understand it, is not a type of depraved. I don't know if they're considered species or what the difference is, how they become. We don't know much about how one becomes depraved or how a depraved comes into being. But the Nox does not seem to be a group like Cavum. The Nox seems to be a singular entity of Moorish legend. Now, before you go crying to the town, the Ashen Order, I will remind you that when I spoke to the witches of Vermore, they were living amongst us, and I was not a traitor of our city. I know that shows my age a little bit. But the witches would speak very rarely of this being. I could not tell if it was merely legend or a historical figure, but it seemed to be some kind of scourge, a devil amongst their people that would wreak havoc amongst their covens. But the reason is a odd coincidence that you question the Nox is I recently fielded questions of the same nature from the Watlands, which is why they requested a campaign into the woods.
Oh, I simply stumbled upon some old Moorish myth in my research into the depraved and their looks.
No, I am not of sound enough mind to connect pieces of coincidence together. But you and I both know that your grandmother would not believe in coincidence like that. And so, I will not pry. I only know that if you are half as inquisitive as she was, you will put the pieces together.
Well, thank you.
Of course.
And I hope to see you soon.
Yes, Again, I hope that you do not have need of a ranger service, but I deeply wish to see you and your family again soon. Well, I will have some of the rangers see you out, and we will, again, hopefully meet soon. Thank you, Eleanor.
Thank you.
And he will clasp your hand and hold it tight before letting you go.
It's really nice to see someone who knew her.
It is very nice to see her again. And unless there's anything else you would like to do in the Grimwatch Keep, you move back out down the hall and are escorted outside by the same tall dwarven, half-dwarven ranger that brought you out the first time. And as you leave the hall, he says, Count Erquilin is once again an honor to have you in Grimwatch Keep. We rarely get
wonderful to see you all.
guests this far out. And as he goes to speak again, he is cut off by shouts coming from the woods. You turn and look towards the forest, and you see coming from the woods, there are two hunters of the Wolf's Guild that are still within the forest, but are running, like just breaking through the tree line and sprinting towards you. As you see this, you watch as the Dwarven Ranger immediately, like, his posture changes, his muscles tense up, and the hunters break through the woods, sprinting as fast as they can towards you, and they're going, "They're behind us! They're right behind us!" And the forest explodes out as the leaves like blow apart, and two creatures bust out of the brush behind them. You see what looks to be like completely hairless humans. One is male and one is female. They look like they've been running on all four limbs for miles. Their muscles have become so tense that they've like popped through, and their veins have pushed through the almost like gray blue flesh that is like so tight around their emaciated body that you can see the bone and muscle. Their fingers, their toes, their knees are bloodied and broken from sprinting on all fours. Their teeth are sharp canines. Their lips, from hunger and starvation, have been pulled back, exposing all of their jaw, from their like gums, from their nose to the bottom of their chin. And as these two creatures come sprinting on all fours from out of the woods, with your perception, you notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more pairs of eyes in the woods, all rapidly moving, with those like shining with the reflections of the last rays of sunlight back at you. And that is
There's so many.
And that is where we'll end tonight's session of City of Shadow. Tune in next week as the Count Eleonore has her first encounter with
alone
with
I got the Rangers.
with some depraved as they come sprinting at full speed out of the woods.
Wish one of you bitches would have came with me.
And there'd be 2 dead player characters. Oh.
But if you liked what you saw today, or you need to know more, make sure you like and subscribe to get notifications for the next episodes of City of Shadows. Until we meet again over another round at the Four Rings Inn.
Woo!